Please welcome our next speaker, Daniel Christian, an enterprise architect, vice president, and Microsoft MVP. Today, he will be presenting Step into the Mixed Reality World. Please stick around after Daniel's session for a live Q&A.
Hey everyone, this is Daniel, and in today's video, we're going to talk about the whole concept of mixed reality, and we're going to step into the mixed reality world over there. So before we jump in, here's just a little bit about me. I'm a Microsoft MVP, and I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. One thing I like to tell people is that I come from an infrastructure background. So I did a lot of racking and stacking of servers, which means I'm not a developer. In a nutshell, if I can do all of this, you can do that as well. So all you need to have is just the passion. Mine is on the Power Platform, which we all know is no code or load code. And the whole concept of AI and machine learning is just so fantastic these days that I really got tickled by it. And I, thanks to Power Platform, able to jump into that as well. If you're interested, that's my Twitter handle, so you can follow me on social media. And I've got tons of videos on the Power Platform over there. So if you go to YouTube and you just search for Daniel Christian Power Apps, you can find me over there. All right. So let's jump into the entire mixed reality and where it falls into the Power Platform world. Now, it has already been out for over 9 months now, and it was actually first introduced on April Fool's Day, which was April 1st, 2020. And it came out at that time in the experimental mode, and it was all these fun and exciting things over there. And here's some great demos, right? So I actually asked people to focus on these screenshots, not just as a passing by, but kind of see what happens. Like the app over there actually has, an important machine that we use in our industrial work over there. But instead of just having a picture, you can actually use mixed reality. Some people call that as augmented reality, but it's mixed reality to actually see what is that device going to look like in your real world. But that's just one piece of it. There's a whole separate segment to that as well. And that is to validate, spaces real time. And that also includes measurements, which I'll talk about. But again, focus on the slide deck over here. So instead of me knowing that, hey, here's a additional table or a bench or something that I want to add in this already, busy workplace over here, should I just go measure the stuff over there? Or can I use this mixed reality to actually get a real-time idea? So you can actually see the person is holding a tablet, and over there you've got this cube. And in that cube, real-time, I can get a measurement that, hey, the device or the other asset that I want to add over there, that's the measurement. And you know what? It looks like it's going to fit. So that's pretty neat because real time right there, you can actually see thanks to mixed reality. But it also has the volume measurements over there, volumetric measurements. So now I don't have to go ahead and carry, a 21 feet or a 30 feet measurement tape in my pocket. I can literally pull out my phone and I can do these measurements real time. And I can even save the data over there. So all of these functionalities, which have the better way to communicate with 3D models, are right at your fingertips right now. And I'll kind of walk you through some scenarios over there. Now, things I want to call out is that it is in a preview feature right now, which is great because, a few months ago, or actually about 6 months ago, it was still in the experimental mode. But now it's in preview mode. So when I tell people is that, hey, when it comes to preview mode, you definitely need to start getting familiar with it. Because experimental mode is like, yeah, I'm not sure if I want to invest my time into that right now. But hey, it's switched over into preview mode. So we kind of want to get ourselves familiar with it. My recommendation is don't go into production on this yet. Definitely get familiar with that because preview means it's like one step closer to going production. And that's why I say definitely get familiar with it, in your dev tenants or your dev environments or a place like that. But just don't go on production right now yet, but get familiar with it. All right, so now before we jump into all the examples and playing around and things like that, I want to kind of talk a little bit on the whole concept of three-dimensional views. So three-dimensional views is not just the two-dimensional, which is X and Y, but you also have the X and the Y and the Z over there. But in order to play with this whole three-dimensional views, I need three-dimensional objects. Like I need three-dimensional devices or examples to play with. So where do I go ahead and get these three-dimensional objects over here? Well, the best thing is that if you already have Windows 10, whether it's all your devices Windows 10, or if you're a Mac user and you've got the Windows VM running on it, you already have a tool on your operating system which gives you the flexibility. And it's actually called as the Microsoft 3D Viewer. So if you go into your Windows tool over there on your Windows 10 operating system and you kind of search for that, it'll just pop up. And it's got a ton of different options for you to go ahead and get these files. They're called as GLB files. And there's a bunch of them. In fact, it's got categorized into gardening, into house accessories, into cars and tools and toys, a whole bunch of them. So you don't have to go, Googling and Binging to find these demos. You already have that on your device over here. And here's just a few examples of them. The 3D viewer gives you all these different options to just play around with and get familiar with. But they're already there. So that's what I've done is I've gone into the 3D viewer over there and gotten some examples. And that's where, you don't have to go spend too much time on that. Now, one of the other things is that these 3 data sources. So right now, as we stand, SharePoint Online, OneDrive, and GitHub, other places, you can use that as a data source. Well, what does a data source mean? Well, in order for you to reference these 3D files, those GLB files that I keep talking about over there, you can put them in any one of these data sources, at least right now. I've got some examples where I put them in SharePoint Online. I've got some examples where I put in OneDrive. In fact, a demo that I'm going to show you is already on GitHub over there. So you can put it on these locations, and it's easily accessible, and there's no problem with that. So kind of want to call that out, that you don't have to go searching for these other sources. You probably already have them. So just upload your files over there, and then we can reference that. Now, before we jump into the whole, using of the Power Platform, I need you to get familiar with a few technical terms over there. Not a whole lot, but just a few of them. And some of them are pretty simple and straightforward, but I do want to make sure you and I are on the same page. And that is these ones over there. Length and area. So what we need to know about a length of an object, and we need to know an area of an object. So all these areas is a length is just from one dot to the other one. And then the area is always the length plus breadth. So you basically are going ahead and adding them up, or you're multiplying them. It's just a very simple geometric things that I want you to kind of understand that moving forward, this is what are we talking about? Length of an object and then an area of an object. So that's kind of what it is. So let's start with the fun example, the example which I showed about measurements. I want you to look at that one over there. But again, before I jump into the measurement, I need you to get familiar with one more technical term, and that's called segment. Now, it's pretty simple because segment is actually just another term for length, but they have this technical term. So here's actually an image that I took. It was of a square wooden block that I had. And over here, I actually had an image. If you see, it had 4 segments. So there's the top ones, there's the ones on each side, and there's the bottom. So it's kind of very simple. It's just another length, but that's what the whole concept is of segments over there. Now, in addition to the segments over here, it's the measurements and the measurement details. So the concept of measurements, I was talking about the whole concept of length. So length could be the sum of the segments. Now, you remember I just talked about how, I showed that block and there were 4 segments over there. So when you want to say what is the full length of the entire block, it's basically just add the 4 things up over there. And then units is again centimeters, meters. These are all the options that are available over there. And then distance of the segments over here is basically, if you want a distance, you just add all those segments up, and there you get familiar with it. And then direction again is a vector term. So kind of just getting you familiar with it. Some of this may just be, so it's like, yeah, Daniel, I already know all this stuff, but just to make sure that you and I are on the same page, I kind of wanted to run through some of that, right? But now I want to kind of go ahead and I'm done with the slides. Let's look at some fun stuff over here. So first thing I want to do is actually show up some of the apps that I already have over here. So I'm going to jump in and we'll go ahead and start building some of my apps. So here is just a Power App. And what I've done in the Power App is I first have, just to make sure, we go over here to our files, we go into the settings. In our settings, I go to the advanced settings. And this is what I meant, is that it's in preview right now. And in preview, when you scroll all the way down, this is where you see mixed reality features. So now when you as a Power Apps maker, if you go log into your Power App Studio over here, when you open an app, you don't even need to go to the advanced settings and the preview ones. You just got to scroll down and you'll already see it's on. All right. So just it's already on there. Just wanted to show you over there. Now, where exactly are all these features available? So when you go now to insert, and in insert, you can go to the media area over here. If you scroll all the way down, this is the view in 3D. The view in 3D is some of the examples that I've already shown you about how you can go ahead and show some of the items in 3D mode. So that's one place over here. And then now when you have that 3D mixed reality turned on, you will see this option in the insert ribbon. And in insert option, there's all these different, like the measurements, viewing it in the 3D mode, so on and so forth over there. So kind of these are all the tools, and this is very available. But I want to kind of jump in and show you some fun examples. Now, what I've done to make the app is not the importance of this example, but I'll explain it to you how I've made it, because it's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. So what I did for this example over here is I've actually gotten all my data from GitHub. But like I explained in the slide deck, I could have pulled this from SharePoint. I could have pulled this from OneDrive as well. So here's actually just a SharePoint library that I have. I've gone ahead and put in the, actually it's a list. I've gone ahead and put in the name of what the atom is all about, and I've gone ahead and put in the attachment. The attachment is just those GLB files. And just in case, if you're thinking, this is what I was talking about, I come over here and I search for 3D Builder or 3D, and you can go ahead and grab this 3D Builder. When 3D Builder opens up, you've got a whole bunch of these options available. So I can go ahead and now insert, and I can go ahead and insert like a cube or different things. I can insert a pyramid, just big options that are available. I can even search through this entire library. There's a bunch of them. And then once you've seen it, you kind of understood what it is, played around with it. This is how you go ahead and grab your 3D files. Basically come over here, you go ahead and do a save as, and in the save as, you've got the option to save it as these different file types. For now, I've been using this GLB format, and it works really well. All right. So you don't have, like I said, you don't have to go hunting around for everything. It's already at your convenience on the Windows 10 device. So back again, that's where I got those files, and I've saved it in, I can save it in SharePoint. What I just did was I saved it in GitHub for now. And in GitHub, if you're familiar with it, you've got your own GitHub. You can go in, set up into your repository, and then you go ahead and upload it to these files, and then you just got to reference those files over here. So again, that's the easy part. But I want to kind of walk you through how it works in Power Apps. The first one I want to focus on is the 3D viewer. So in the 3D viewer, I basically came over here, and I've gone ahead and dropped in this, come over here to the image. And in the image, I've gone ahead and dropped in this view in 3D. So if you kind of pay close attention to the icon, see it matches over here. That's basically the control that I've gone ahead and added. And it's so slick because, look over here. When I come in, I can zoom into it. I can look at that chair. I can actually go scrolling around, just take even a closer look at it. And that's just for the chair. I've got some other ones. I've got a round table over here. You see it went ahead and loaded. I can take a closer look at the round table. Same thing on the human skull. It's actually a fully developed skull, accurate right down to the ratio level. I can go down, zoom in further, and I'm zooming in means I'm just using the scroll for my mouse. I can go all the way around it. I can go inside it. It's just that 3D model effect, which is already available. And the whole concept is right in this control. This is what does it. So I didn't have to make this. I didn't have to go ahead and add a rectangle or add some code into it. No, this is all just a full control that's already available. And then based on that, I've gone ahead and actually just referenced the links. These are all over here. See, that's all I'm saying. In the source, just reference the URL, and that URL is just coming from that GitHub over there. I could even upload the files and keep it directly in Power Apps, but I don't want to do that for now. So that was just on the 3D side over there. Now, 3D side is fantastic. Initially, this is what I did. I went ahead and at least got myself comfortable with it, playing with it on the app side, getting comfortable with it. But what I did was after that, I went ahead and took it a step further. So I wanted to actually see it in mixed reality mode. And that mixed reality mode is huge. So what I wanted to do is actually, I kind of give you an overview that the files that I'm referencing are the exact same ones. The chairs, the round table, the human skull is the exact same thing. But now, instead of me viewing it on the screen in the 3D mode, I actually want to go ahead and see it directly as if I'm in the mixed reality side over there. So in order for me to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my phone for this. So I'm going to come over here. First thing I'm going to do is turn on the 3D viewer. This is the lonely screen is something that I use because it helps me kind of, show you what I'm seeing over here in my phone. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to do some screen sharing. And now any second, you will see my phone show up over here. So again, that's just the simple piece is that I'm just sharing my screen over here. All right. So this is me and this is my phone and you're seeing it over here. So now I'm going to come into Power Apps, Power Apps, search for that. And I'm going to open up that 3D viewer screen directly over here. So it's fun. See the one over here, fun with mixed reality. So it's opening up. This is actually the same app that we opened up in the Canvas Studio. This is the same thing over here. So I showed you the top one, which is 3D models over here. I'm going to now do the view in mixed reality. Now, chair one, round table, that's all good. What I'm going to do is I want to see what does this gazebo look like. And I'm here in my office, and I'd love to have the gazebo just filled up over here in my office. So let's kind of just see if that works. So I've gone ahead and done that in view in mixed reality mode, and it's loading. The loading is because it's got a big file over here. And what I'm going to say is actually letting me, it says point any devices basically and tap anywhere. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to tap anywhere. And voila, I have a full gazebo in my office over here. Now, obviously, there is no gazebo, but you kind of see what I'm going with over here, right? See, I'm actually inside the gazebo. I can look down. I can look up. I'm actually inside the full gazebo. And it's giving you a full, 3D kind of a view as well, because besides the fact that it's in mixed reality, it's actually doing a pretty good job even maintaining some of the ratio values that you have. So it's kind of really I always joke with my friends is that once you start playing with this, you're going to be the next Pokemon on the go, because everybody's on their phone trying to tap everything. But the person outside is like, what is this guy doing? And that's literally what people tell me is like, what are you doing? You're playing with your phone. It's like, no, I'm not playing with my phone. I'm in mixed reality mode over here. That's a joke. But again, the whole concept of see how it's just inside, you are inside that model over there using that 3D reality mixed mode over here. But again, this is the exact same app that we talked about, and I showed you over there that there wasn't any code required. It was directly tied inside the mixed reality piece over here in that section over there. Okay, so while we are here, I want to go ahead and show you the measurement app that I talked about. Remember the distance with the length and the area. So here it is. Here's the app that I'm showing. The one we're going to look at is the Fun with Mixed Reality Measure. I'm going to click on that, and the app's opening. And as you can see, I've kind of done a whole bunch of things over here. But let's start simple, right? I'm going to focus only on two things, which is the length and the area. So what I've got over here is actually just one of my styrofoams that I use for sound absorption. So I'm going to click on length. And now I'm going to click on measure the distance. So what you're actually seeing is my floor over here. And now if I go ahead and do that, click on start or tap to start right there. And there, it's giving me the starting point. And now as I go to the right, it is allowing me to make a full measurement. Now what I can also do is, along with me doing that measurement over there, it's kind of best that I also go ahead and take a picture. That way I have a kind of screenshot of what happened over there. And I'm going to click on submit. So submit, all done. Click on submit. And then right here, you actually see all this information that I got. So the unit is in meters, right? Okay, the unit was in meters, but as you can see right here in the image was 31 centimeters. But here's some critical information too. It's like, okay, what was the starting point? And then how far did you go over here? These coordinates are very important when it comes to measurements, specifically from where you started and where you ended up over here. So that was actually a really neat thing about the concept of measuring distance in mixed reality. But let's not just stop over there, because this was just measuring distance, and distance is a very similar, scalar, right? Because it's just from one point to the other point. I want to take it to one more step further, and let's start doing it with the area as well. So I've come back. I'm still in the same app, and I'm going to click on area, and I'm going to do the whole measurement over here again. And this time we're going to try to measure the area of this, square feature. So I'm going to click on tap to start, and I'm going to go this way. I'm going to come down again this way, and I like because it goes ahead and locks it all, and this is actually very similar to the example that I showed in that slide deck over here. So I'm going to now go ahead and just take a picture of it. I'm going to click on submit, all done. And see, here's very important things. So let's kind of spend a little bit of time kind of understanding what it is, because this will give you a really good idea of what the whole concept of segments is. So as you can see down here, these were 4 segments. In simple terms, they were just 4 lengths that we went ahead and measured. So that's why it says, it's giving me a count, is 4 segments over here. But over here now, I've got the measurement of each and every one of the segments. See, so I'm able to go ahead and say from the one which is from the top over here to there was this section. Then I can go ahead and, that's why you see over here, it says 20.26. That was the 26 centimeters over here. Next one, it actually tells you that you went from the top to the bottom, which is why over here you see that negative Z. Again, the length over here was 26. But now from here, we went to the left, which is why you're seeing a negative X. It's kind of making sense to how this whole concept of segments work over there. because it's something that we don't really need, because all we care about is just the length over here. But it's very important that how this mixed reality measurement works, because it's all down to at that point where you are in the whole segment of X and Y and Z coordinate over here. So it's kind of very slick, but the whole concept of the fact that this was just done without any coding, there's just a gallery. And in the gallery, whatever the measurements were there, I just dropped in the gallery and able to see all of this. And it just makes the whole measurement over here. So that's kind of pretty slick on how this whole concept works. So just let's spend a few minutes taking a look at how this was even built and set up. So what I'm going to do is this was basically the app that we just looked at, the test that we did. Three simple buttons, which is for the area and the length. So let's go and take a look at the length. In the length, I went ahead and added that button. So over here, I come to area, mixed reality. And all I did was basically just go ahead and put in the measure. So you see this measure icon over here is the exact same as the measure icon. Now in the measure icon, you've got a bunch of options. So let's kind of spend a little bit of time on those settings over here. This is the one which says meters, and you can have all these options available, whether you want to put it in centimeters, you want to put it in feet, inches. You've got quite a lot of amount to play with. And then here is the measurement type. So over here, we specifically talked about distance, which was the length, right? That's the distance over here. But in the other example, when we were taking the full area, that's what it was, is the area. And then you also have area and volume, and we'll kind of understand the whole concept of how it is. And I'll give you even a demo on that. All right, so it was the whole concept of area and the distance. Now, this all data, what you're seeing, is all coming in a gallery. So all the information that we went ahead and selected from here, I've just taken what's called as the measurement detail, and I've pretty much dumped it into this one gallery over here. So that gallery is constantly telling me what the height is, what the length is, what the height and the length is, and what unit it is, whether it's meters or centimeters. And then thereafter, I've gone ahead and created this gallery, and the gallery basically shows me for that exact measurement point in time when you moved. Did you move in the XY, in the negative X, or in the negative Y? Kind of, this is how it really works. So it's kind of fantastic that all you see is the control, and all you did was take a picture, but it's capturing that much information for you to work with. And that's the whole concept of mixed reality. You need to know that in that point in time, where were you located and in which direction you moved, because that's what gives you the most accurate measurement over here. And then the whole concept of other thing about segments is pretty much the same thing, constantly capturing the X and the Y over here. And this was for the length. When we did the area, again, same concept. What I did was in the button, I went ahead and moved that from the length or the distance, and I made that into the area over here. And again, it was able to do the same thing. Went ahead and grabbed it, got ahead and captured the data over here, and I was able to present it again in the units, height, total area, total length, and the area over there. Now, I do want to pause over here because I know sometimes it looks like, hey, Daniel, you look like you're just having a lot of fun, which I am. This is awesome. But what is the real world use of something like this? And that's a good question, because at the end of the day, that's what we need, right? It's an app. It's a fun place to build. So I want to show you this one example that I have. In this example, here is a simple app that was used and was actually used by a company to go ahead and, kind of sell these HVAC type of systems. And the app is so simple and straightforward. It actually, does a whole bunch of other things. It's able to go ahead and, talk about the app. The app was built to go ahead and use the geolocations where all these stores were there, blah, 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 blah. But then as we kind of go over towards the middle, it comes over here. In here, it's showing you all the units that you have. And it also has this section over here. Like in the gallery, there are all these images, but some images have 3D in them. Well, that's pretty cool. So let's go and take a look at what this 3D is. So as I go ahead and click on that 3D, this shows, see, there's a toggle switch, shows that this is what the 2D image looks like of that HVAC system over there. But if you go ahead and hit that toggle button, in that toggle button, it immediately becomes a 3D. And now you can go ahead and see it from different dimensions, different angles, zoom in, zoom out. That's pretty slick. It gives you a really close upfront look at what that device looks like. Let's not just stop over there, because now you know which HVAC system you want. You can go ahead directly to the location of your house, put that full real size HVAC system over there, air conditioner, whatever, and you can right there see, is this going to fit in that allocated space in my backyard or side of your company and things like that. It is right there. It is fully functional. And again, this is very similar to the app that I just showed you. It works full time. It works, real time over there. no using of pictures, no, and thanks to building these apps over there with low to no code, you can actually do that. Go to your customer's place, or the customer can actually come to your location and you can give them a full 3D representation of how this works over there, as against you just opening up this big folder and just flipping magazines and pictures or showing, oh, this is what it looks like, or that's what it could potentially look like. There are different colors available, doing all that sales gimmick. Just use the 3D model available for that. And it really, really works over there. So this kind of is that real world example. And you actually might have even seen some of these other big general stores, manufacturing companies have already started leveraging and doing POCs of this for this exact reason, using 3D modeling viewing tied with mixed reality directly to show whatever their manufacturing product is will look at a certain point in your location over there. So what I want to do is I want to end with a few other important things that you need to know, and it's pretty important. So we went through the building of the apps and going ahead and building some of the examples, but it is still in preview. So a couple of things you need to know about right now. It is very picky about the 3D file types that it wants. The GLB is the one that I've been using, the one which I use from the 3D Maker. Those are the ones that it seems to like the best right now. It also is kind of favorable towards a few locations, SharePoint, 3D Viewer, GitHub. However, the last when I spoke to the Microsoft product team, they are looking at making direct API connections to places which already have 3D models. So you don't have to download them over here, put it in one of your locations, and then point your app to that. Direct, if you've got any apps or whatever which has the functionality for API connections, well, then you can directly go ahead and talk to them. So that's kind of in the works over there. Second thing is, in the 3D measurements, the Z's are always from the bottom to the top. What that means is that if I'm measuring the 3D views over here, if I go ahead and measure it from the bottom, go the whole area, and when I want to measure the volume over there, you can only go from the bottom to the top. You cannot go from the top to the bottom. So I can even show you an example of that if time permits over here. And then finally, when the app opens up, it directly does not go into the 3D model over there. So what that means is, like, if there are, when you open up an app, you want to make it such as when the app opens up, it directly shows you your area and you start doing the measurement. It doesn't do that. You got to open up the app. You need to have a button to go ahead and click on that, and on the button, it'll go ahead and directly show you, the 3D visualization to go ahead and do that. So we do have a few minutes. What I'm going to do is I'll jump straight into that one demo, which I can show you of what that measurement was like. So let me go ahead. The 3D model is the one I'm talking about. So let me go back and go ahead and share my screen. In my screen, it'll show up over there any second. Right there. Let me go back into the app, the fun measuring one, and I'll show you the volume. So here is the example, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and tap on it and look start. And so right here, I went and did that, and then now I go ahead and do up. And it goes ahead and makes that nice 3D cube. So did you see kind of what I did? I had to measure the bottom level and then go ahead and do the by coordinate. What I cannot do is I can't go ahead and start from the top, and I can't go ahead and work my way down. That's what I was meaning is like I can't go with a negative Z. It can only be done on the bottom and then work your way up right now. So they're kind of working into that functionality because that will be needed, right? I will need to go either from the top or need the bottom. That's what they're working on over there. And that's basically what I was talking about, the whole concept of leveraging the negative Z's. That's kind of not available. So hopefully this session was helpful to you. Again, I went ahead and covered a whole bunch of things over there, and I went really fast on that, but I've got a whole bunch of, videos available on that. Two of them, if you just go to YouTube and search, I've walked you through how to make the controls, how to go ahead and make that reality. So you can deep dive into that. But here are the helpful ones. If you want to go, there are the links to the Microsoft document over there, introduces more on the mixed reality in Power Apps. Also goes ahead and the next link over there walks you through the whole concept of using the mixed reality components with the measurements, the volume, the area, and things like that over there. Kind of walks you through the whole thing. So hopefully the session was helpful to you. I know I gave you a lot of information on the Power Apps on mixed reality, but this is enough for you to start with. And if you've got any questions, I'll be monitoring the chat, so you can go ahead and answer over them, and I'll do my best to answer that. But Thanks for attending my session. Hello. So what did you all think about my session? As always, it was awesome. Not because of me, but because of mixed reality. I mean, it's so much fun to play with that. I personally have a blast in it. So hopefully that you've been able to enjoy more on that and be able to learn a few things. Couple of things that I like about that, just to kind of go over what you just saw, was the concept of segments. Like, that's one of the key things that you need to understand. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind, is that segments is the baseline to get those measurements, and from the different ways that you go ahead and measure it up over there. The other thing was, depending on whichever angle that you pick from, if it's just the length, or if it was just the area or the volume, the way it is, those details and the details, subsection, it likes it when you go ahead and take that entire function of details and drop it into a gallery. Because then when you drop it in the gallery, you can get all of them, those X's and the Y's and the Z's. It kind of picks all of them up over there. So that's when I was kind of getting myself familiar with this whole concept, that's what I realized, is that, don't take that information and put it into a table or into a label or text, drop it in a gallery. And then in the gallery, you can go ahead and, play around with it. You can even drop it into a collection, because it's just a temporary thing, and then put the collection into a gallery. Either way, drop it in a temporary location, which has got, a whole bunch of information, and then display that in a gallery. But there's some really neat things that are working around with this over there. I know that there was, when I worked closely with the product group on this, giving them so much feedbacks. They kind of run some ideas by us over here. And one of the things that I have been telling them is that, man, the calculation of the volume would be so much more nicer if we can go ahead and put the volume up over there. And I was showing the definition of how you can take the length, and you can't go up. You can't go down. You can only go up. But going down would help. So that's something that is a work in progress. Once in a while, I've seen some subtle changes where it works one way in an iPhone, but it works something different in the Android. Very subtle things, but some things you might catch over there. And that's not more on the Power App side. That's actually more on the device side. So that's another thing to keep in mind over there. But through the entire process, when I was walking you through, I didn't have any heavy coding involved. And I say heavy coding also, it's basically I didn't have to go do a for all if function inside a patch statement. None of that. I mean, granted, if you want to save the data, then you will have to do some of that depending on how your backend storage is. But here, it is all simple and all straightforward. I really didn't have to do any of that stuff over here. So all in all, this was very simple, very straightforward, nothing fancy on any of that. Hopefully this has been helpful to you. And I'll just, hang out for a while and see if there's any questions or concerns that you might have. But other than that, I personally am super stoked about this one. This was pretty awesome. Cool. Waiting, see. Other things that you want to keep in mind is also, right now it is in preview. I started playing with this back when it was in experimental mode, but it is now in a preview mode. Preview mode means it's very close to getting going live. So that's really a good thing. But it also means that they are just waiting from some certification standpoint or things like that. We really don't know what it stands as far as the licensing goes. I really don't know what it is. All I know is it's a controller, and in the controller it works, and that's literally all I know. I have no clue about why is it based this way? Why is it based that way? I really don't know about that. So we just got to all wait and see what that's really going to be. But yeah, I'm really excited. Examples which I've also seen talking from the product group about stuff like this is, do I have to get those GLB files every single time? And they are constantly working on saying that, there might be other services out there that already have mixed reality or 3D models available. I mean, there are people who do that in their company for reasons, right? They've already been working on that. I was actually doing a POC with discussing with another company who's working on that. And they said that I've got a ton of these 3D models already created, but they are stored in this one location. can I just make an API call to that? So with my MVP status, I took it back to the product group. I said, hey, man, these guys got a valid point. Why should they invest all that time moving it to one of the 3 locations? Can't they just make an API call? So the product group, they're hungry for all this type of information. They said that, hey, we're already working into that. We're already coming into processes where we can do live streaming, where they don't have to get the data all the way. They just go ahead and talk to the data, and through the live streaming technique, just leverage those 3D models over there. So all those new things are coming up, and it's kind of really exciting. And you know, it sits so well because in Ignite time, the 3D was the whole big one. Like when they discussed about mesh, that just took off 3D and mixed reality into a whole different level. Is the concept of Microsoft Mesh over there. So when I did a table talk, and then there was a few of us who were talking about mixed reality, mesh came up. The future of this is going to be so big. Like it can really take off in so many angles. And that's why I'm so interested in keeping up with the whole mixed reality piece of it, is because you're going above and beyond that one device. You can touch in so many different ways. Who knows? There might be a time in the future where you can actually have that entire app go ahead and turn the mixed reality piece of it, put it into one of your goggles type of a situation, and then start playing with it. I think there's quite a few options available in the future, and I personally am really looking forward to it, just to see where this goes. All right, so I'm reading to Qasim. Hey, Jeff is available. Hey, Jeff, thanks for stopping by. He said it was really cool. Thanks, Daniel. Awesome. I'm glad you could stop by over here. Christine says, thanks, Daniel. The session was awesome. Haven't incorporated much mixed reality yet, but your session resources will provide a good starting point. Well, thanks for that. It is. Like I said, I've mentioned that in the video as well. This is in the preview stage right now. My personal opinion always been is that when it comes to preview, it's still definitely like environmental is, yeah, you want to kind of be a little careful. Environmental can come, environmental can go. Preview is very close to going production. So I would not take this into production yet. Definitely start playing with it though. If you've got your own either a preview environment or just go ahead and build some apps and start playing with it, definitely start playing with it, Christine, because it's you can turn it on. By default, if you even have an app ready and you go to those advanced settings, it's already turned on. The toggle switch is already on that. So you can start playing with it, but I highly recommend you start playing with it because the demo that I showed you in the video, that was awesome. Like the way they were selling HVAC systems over there. It was a very simple looking app, but that HVAC system took it, I mean, the gallery and the 3D took it to a whole different level. Like now you don't have to just flip pages in a catalog. You took that app and it says, hey, this is what it's going to look like. This is the image, or this is the HVAC system. We measured it just to see it fits over there. Oh, by the way, and this is what it's going to look like in that location. Very simple. I mean, there was 0 line of code over there. You literally had the gallery. You had the information put over there, and it works on that. Joel, so the question on that is, is this a Power App feature or is this a new dollar feature? Don't know the answer to that. Even I've tried to find that out. I really don't know. So we'll see. We'll wait and see when it's going to be announced. There is a Microsoft Business event that is coming up. Maybe they'll announce it over there, but we should find that out very soon because it's already in preview. So we should find that out very soon. Answer to that is, Joel, I really don't know, but we'll find that out very soon. Preview is always like, yeah, they got to figure that out. What else? Data sources was a great place. Like I personally went and selected the 3 my personal favorite ones, which was put it in OneDrive, SharePoint, put it in GitHub, because GitHub was already over there. As long as we can connect to those data sources as a connector, you can put your data over there, your GLB files. Just make sure that you can connect to it. And anytime there's a connector that's already over there, you can put the data, your files over there, and they will work. So as far as data source goes, I'm not too concerned about that. The only thing that could potentially affect you would be the size of those GLB files. But like I was saying before, there are ways that the product team is working around, is that making API calls to locations where they already have these files located. You might already have some files located in that place, and you don't need to relocate them to any of the other data sources. Just make API calls to them. It'll actually work on that. One of the questions that came up during the when the video was going on streaming was about the size of the event. So the gazebo was a great example that I put over there. It's one of my favorite examples too, because I have a full gazebo sitting in my office. There is actually a setting inside the connection piece specifically for the 3D component over there, where you can set to see what is going to be the size. Do you want 100%, like, this is the size of that image in that location, or you can tweak it a little bit down, you can make it a little bit big. I didn't deep dive too much into that, but if you go into the advanced settings, you have the functionality to tweak that size a little bit, and that really helps when you're playing around with that. So kind of, once you get comfortable with it, go take a look at those advanced settings, because it really gets helpful over there. What else? That's a good idea. All right, I think I answered Joel's question. Great. Towards the end, you can make this in tablets. You can make this in your, smartphones over there. Those are the only two places you can do that. And you need to have those ready when you're testing it, because when you build it in your, studio, say on your laptop, and when you're trying to test the make the 3D one over there, it'll come up with the sign on the top in the studio saying that this can't be tested over here, which makes sense, right? Because you're testing a mixed reality one. You can't test the mixed reality one on your laptop over here. So you kind of need to have those, either a tablet or a smartphone, ready for the testing piece over there. The 3D models, you can test that directly on your laptop because they're 3D. Mixed reality ones, even the measurement sections over there, you will have to have your phone directly ready to test that. So kind of be prepared to already have that app installed and ready on your phone or your tablet over there. Cool. Overall, you don't have to worry about which version your app is. It pretty much works on those all the time. And as you know, it's already getting deployed again and again, so you really don't have to worry too much about that. It just happens by itself. So you don't have to worry about that versions. And then you just have to make sure that, when you're building the app, publish it, and it shows up over here. And then, it just starts working. My recommendation is start playing with it. You'll start getting familiar with galleries. You'll start getting familiar with the measurements function, the measurements detailed information. You'll start getting familiar with the whole concept of the X and the Y, and X, Y, and Z. Your finger locations will actually come this way, and you'll understand, how the 3D measurement works over there. Great place to get familiar with that. I personally had to do a little bit more reading up on, besides the fact that I understand, what is a scalar versus a vector. That was like, I had to go back in college days, high school days, like, okay, scalar is just the units, vector is the same measurements with the directions. So you kind of get, familiar with things like that. So yeah, it's pretty neat. You play around with it, and have an app ready to show people the fun things you can do is always hilarious. It's just one of those things which you can just do by the fire pit side and talk about that. All right, Joel said, not a question, but a tape. You can use programs like AirServer to demo your Power Apps from a phone. Oh yeah, I like that. Yeah, AirPlay in iOS as well. Perfect. Yeah, there's different devices available. AirServer is definitely one of them. As long as you can just have your in the same Wi-Fi location over there, or the same internet location, or Wi-Fi internet location. That's what I use in the AirPlay, which is through the iOS. You can even use QuickTime. Joel, did you know that? In my QuickTime, I can go ahead and actually share it directly through my phone over there. And the neat thing with that is you can actually turn off, if you directly connect this through your USB, you can turn off the Wi-Fi connection on your phone. So it doesn't even need to be in the same internet. It kind of works really well. Yeah. Teams has been sharing from the iPhone, but it's meh. Yeah, well, it is what it is over there. Well, hopefully you all enjoyed the session. I have put it in I'm going to put some links in case if you're interested. These are the ones that are helpful directly from the Microsoft ones. So there are some docs available over there. Helpful, I put those in my blog area as well. So you can go ahead and take a look at that. And I have also put in this is one of the videos on my YouTube channel, because over here I did about a 40-minute session, so I didn't walk through a whole lot, but I've put the link to the initial one And over there, you can find the links to all my other ones. I've kind of walked a little bit more slowly and deep dive. One of them was just for the 3D models. The other one of them was for the measurements. So I've got 2 of those videos over there. They've got more links put in. So you can definitely go in and kind of get used to it and comfortable with it. One of the things I also say is that, I release like a video a week. So when you're there, go ahead and click on the subscribe and notifications. So anytime new videos come out, you have full free access to that. Cool. Any other questions? If not, we can call it a day.